Hi everyone, welcome back to Rich's Garage. This is video number 2 on the HO switching layout that I'm building. What I have here is prepping the track surface for the layout. Basically, it's the aluminum frame, which I showed you in the first video. On top of that is insulation foam, and then this is a piece of hardboard that I've glued cork to, and the track will go on the cork. So this is upside down right now. I just want to give you a quick look at this, and what I'll do is I'll trim this and then pause you guys, then I'll trim it, I should say, and then you'll see it upstairs on the layout. Basically what I did was the width of the front to back of the layout is 2 feet, so this is a 4x8 sheet of hardboard that I ripped down to 2 feet. Then I wanted to use cork for, its sound deadening ability, and also it's easier to glue some things to, glue the track to, and put any landscaping material on. So I went and I got a roll of cork. And this is a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch thick, 4 feet wide, 50-foot roll. And I got the 50-foot roll. You can buy this in sheets of like 2x3 or 2x4, but I didn't want all the seams. So what I did was rolled it out, and I cut away the extra footage. So it's obviously less than 2 feet that's left over. But it just makes it easier when I glued this down. Anything that came out, anything that squeezed out of the edges, it's just easier to cut it to fit this board than to try and make it match up perfect and worry about getting glue or adhesive all over my workbench. The adhesive I used was this Roberts 7250. It's called out as cork underlayment adhesive. I was thinking about maybe using a construction adhesive. I said, what the heck, I'll give this a shot. I think it was only like $7 for this 1 gallon, which was more than enough for what I'm doing. So the way this goes on, it's like a putty. I scooped it out, put some down on here, and then for 1/4 inch thick, they recommend a 1/16 inch trowel. And so I use a trowel to get a nice even layer. Flip the board down, put some wood on here, and whatever I could find in the basement for weight to help press it down. Before I put the boards on, this is a laminate roller basically. It's I don't know, 5 pounds, 6 pounds, something like that. But just use it to roll out and make sure you got good contact between the two. So it looks like it glued pretty well. I like this. According to the instructions, it says to anywhere up to like 72 hours it takes for this to dry. And so I left it for 5 days. When I glue this to the foam, I'm thinking I'm going to use construction adhesive. This says I guess it really is just for adhering cork. They don't recommend it, I think, for hard surface to hard surface. This is a non-porous, and the foam is non-porous. So we'll see how that goes. But what I'm going to do is I'll trim this out, and we'll take a look at how it's going to lay on top of the benchwork. Welcome back, everyone. It's been a couple seconds for you guys, but it's really been a month in actual time since I shut off the camera. I got the board up on top of the foam, and as you can see, around the perimeter it's curled up a little bit. And that kind of happened the first day that when I brought it up here, I noticed it's starting to curl up. I said, you know what, I'm just going to let it sit for a week or so and see where it ends up. I was smelling a little bit of the solvent from the Roberts cement, so probably there was maybe a little bit of moisture left in the board. Don't know, but anyway, it is what it is. I don't think it was the cork, because the cork, the way it was coiled up, its tendency would be to curl downward into the board. So once this happened, what I figured I would do is use a contact cement to tie this all together. What I have, the pink foam is Owens Corning 1-inch foam, and it's a 4x8 sheet that I cut in half, glued it to itself, and I used Loctite construction adhesive for foam, or foam compatible, and that was no big deal. then I started my search to see, okay, what contact cement is compatible with foam, and I found a YouTube video, but I can't remember the guy's name. It's been about a month now, and he was making airplanes with using a white dense foam, and he was using DAP weldwood contact cement, and that's here we go. So that's this guy. Now the funny thing is that, well, the interesting thing, his can had an older label that clearly said foam use, and if you look at this one, it does not. So when I purchased this, my local Home Depot only had the solvent version of this, which would eat the foam. So I got this on Amazon, and I saw, from the pictures that the label didn't say foam. I said, I'm going to take a chance. When I got it home and read the applications, in back it says not recommended for foam. But I was a little skeptical of that. I said, I can't imagine that they would have changed the formulation that much. There must have been some incident with some type of foam, and they felt like they needed to change the label. That was my assumption. So what I did is I glued some test pieces. This isn't, well, let me show you the test piece. So here you go. This is what I did. The foam is actually cut off from this foam sheet that you see here, as well as the hardboard is cut from this actual hardboard, because this isn't exactly, it's 7.5 feet roughly. It's not 8 feet, so I wound up cutting this off. And the other thing I did was, right here, I put the contact cement just on that flat surface of the foam. So it's been a couple weeks, and you can see it's done absolutely nothing to the foam. So I'm happy that, or convinced that, it's not going to attack the foam in any way. And it's not going anywhere. It's pretty solid. So that's how I'm going to glue down the hardboard to the foam. And Home Depot has, for 99 cents, some dowels that I'll cut in half. These are 4 foot, and this way I'll put these underneath, and they'll give me the opportunity to fine-tune the alignment and then pull the dowel out, press it down. This stuff is pretty aggressive. As soon as it touches, it's going to be together. So, and I'll put a bunch of weight on it and let it sit for a week. It actually strengthens its bond if you let it sit for a little bit. The other thing you'll see here is a bunch of model kits. What I did was, we had some leftover laminate flooring, and I cut that to basically 4 foot lengths, and then it's tongue and groove board. I didn't use any adhesive. I just put them together and slid the pieces in and made a shelf. And let me see if I can maybe a little closer look at this. So there it is, the board. It came out real nice. I'm happy with it, and I'm able to put all my models and stuff. And that was the premise of doing this ladder here, is to be able to have some storage space both above it and below it. I actually had drilled the legs to make another frame for the bottom, but I decided not to use the material. It's carpeting here, so I'll just put this stuff underneath. So that's all I got for now. Rather than build the L portion of the bench work, I'm actually going to start building some switches, so I can start laying that out on the cork and see how that's going to lay out. I'm kind of itching to get started on that part of it. And like I said, after about a week or so, I'll make another video, and we'll see how well this contact cement did in tying this all together. If it doesn't work so well, then I'll have to come up with some other way of doing that, whether it's clamp or whatever. But that's all I got for now. So until next time, take care.